What's going on, everybody? LK here once again with ApologyMan, and today a little bit different, something a little bit different. We're going to make a tier list of all the mainline Guilty Gear games. Is that how we? That's how we want to say it. So no meme games, all right? No Overture, no Isuka, no GBA, none of that. Just the mainline Guilty Gear games. Keeper Security is the leading cybersecurity platform for protecting individuals, families, and businesses against password-related cyber attacks. Yep, I'm talking about hackers. These attacks can lead to identity theft, financial loss, and reputational damage. Experts predict too that cybercriminals will increasingly target the gaming industry over the next 3 years. So with Keeper Security, you can create strong, unique passwords, not the old passwords you've been using since high school, special ones for every account you use where you log in, but you can also keep them stored safely in your own encrypted vault. Visit keeper.io/Beastcoast and use code Beastcoast, that's in all caps, Beastcoast, for a 30% off promo code. Stay safe out there, my friends.
You want to start from the first Guilty Gear onwards, and then
That's a good way of doing it too.
Yeah, we'll start from the beginning to
okay.
present.
Go do the timeline route.
Yeah. So when it comes to like rating the first one, right? I feel like there's some merit and like perspective like you kind of have to put on it because it's innovating, right? Is the first time this type of game like has existed. That Daisuke just made voice acted like like a bunch of characters and like put air dashing in this like anime like rock themed game, and it just dropped for the first time ever, right? So that innovation, I think that kind of merits it to be pretty high in my book. Obviously the game is super broken. That game is like absurdly broken. I think IK's like, if you get IK'd in that game, I think you just lose.
No, you just win. Yeah, you just win. You don't win a round, you just win.
You just win. Like, it doesn't matter if there's one more round left. It's like, nah, you got the dub.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So wait, what are you saying that it is?
I feel just because it was the first of its kind, right? I would put it in A tier, but I don't know how we want to do this fully. If we want to just do this on fighting game balance and like overall design, like competitively, because it's definitely not a competitive game. That game is probably
that's what I was gonna say. I think this game is definitely D tier, but
okay. If we're gonna go that direction, sure.
The game. I'm talking about the game. You know what I mean? Not like the music and like stuff like that. Just like how I feel about playing the game against people.
Gotcha.
Right? Okay. This game's full of cap shit. Similarly to you, so like I disclaimer, I have not played this game either, but I definitely like know stuff about it. I mean, this is YouTube. More than one person has made a funny video about the funny stuff that you can reliably do in this game. So I don't have a very positive image of this game, but to be fair, it was the first one. They didn't really know what they were doing yet. It's their first time doing a lot of stuff. And it introduced us to all these characters we now love, like Milia, right? Yep. Okay, so
Dr. Bolthead.
I don't know who that is. So Guilty Gear X is next. So Guilty Gear X, we're starting to get close to what people know as quote unquote real Guilty Gear ? But so it looks visually like quite a bit better. A lot of the tracks we're used to is in that too. I'm surprised I mentioned music, considering I'm just want to talk about like the games itself. But the biggest thing about this game is that this game's kind of busted too. There are faultless defense cancel infinites in this game. That are extremely strong. Infinites, you know how I feel about infinites for the most part. Not cool, no interaction type beat. But you don't automatically lose for getting IK'd, which is a nice change.
That's an improvement, I think.
Yeah. So I think it gets a solid C. C. Baby steps, right?
Yeah, no, I remember watching, I think the SBO for this game, and just seeing the faultless defense infinites. Like that was just like the cheapest stuff, because you could cancel your normals like into faultless defense, and then you cancel faultless defense into
dash.
Yeah,
and
into dash
buttons, all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I don't
super
think
broken game.
I don't think Guilty Gear X had an SPO. I actually think the first SPO had this game down here, which is Guilty Gear XX. And now, to be fair, I'm actually unsure if this game has FDC Infinite 2, Flawless Defense Cancel Infinite 2. But this game does have a bunch of broken stuff too. But we're finally at XX now. So generally, especially at like this time when this game came out, like the first versions of games just not very good games. Like there's no other way to put it. There's multiple reasons why they patched the game multiple times, but this game has a bunch of silly stuff in it. Maybe the most common thing that you would hear about this version of the game specifically is the Bite Command Grab Infinite that Slayer has. That is, I don't think it's a touch of death, but I think it's mad damage, and he can get it from like a reversal because he's got like the backdash cancel that you basically can't do anything about. That's probably like the main thing people will reference as like being something stupid, but there's other like, of course, really strong tactics in that version of the game. So
Burst safe too, huh?
I mean, yeah, because it's a good grab, right?
Yeah.
So you know, an improvement over the previous two, but yeah, still not quite where we need to be, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. We're just talking about just playing the game. Also, like a broken mess. Like we're not quite there in terms of like I guess like competitive gameplay where it's like, okay, this is like a pretty legit balanced fighting game, like somewhat. We're not there yet.
Yeah. So we go to Sharp Reload, which is this is actually the first version that I played, but before I played tournaments. And this game's actually pretty interesting. So like, you know, Slayer is still good. I think this is the version where Robokai is like mad good too. Milia's good as usual. Eddie's good. This is where like the Daigo Guilty Gear meme is from. Soul is quote unquote not strong in this game. If I recall correctly, okay, don't be afraid to correct me on this. This is like true ancient history for fighting games. But despite the characters all being really strong, there's like, I don't want to go so far and say there's a broken stuff in the game. It's just like everyone's like super strong, which is good in my book. So here we're starting to get to where we need to be. You know what I'm saying? Gradually.
When was the Dust Loop first?
It might have been XX. It might have been XX. It's definitely in Sharp Reload.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But it might be XX also.
Dude, do you remember how much the Dust Loop used to do?
Yeah.
The damage on that combo was insane.
Wow, it's so interesting that you talk about that damage on Dust Loop. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That's a really interesting thing. Before Strive came out, I made like a, you know, this objectively shit posting. Like I knew exactly what I was doing, but we were watching old SBO videos, and anytime like just some explosive damage happened, I would just pause it and be like, yeah, dude, damaging Guilty Gear Strive's too high, bro. Because honestly, it's like a pretty common theme in all the Guilty Gear games that like damage can happen, and people will have like any type of excuse for it in an old game compared to Strive. The main one being, oh well, it's harder to do. Like the combo is hard to do in the old games, so it's fine. Which is in my opinion, is not.
Yeah.
You know. So I just find it really interesting that you're like, man, that combo did a lot of damage. That shit was crazy. Okay. So if you recognize this picture down here, this is Slash. I've never seen this artwork for Slash. I think it's like arcade artwork or maybe like EU artwork. But this thing is sick. Holy Order Soul and Abba. So they were like, man, our past couple of games were mad broken. So let's make it like less broken. But then when I was watching Strive on stream, someone was like, yeah, Soul's DP does 100 damage. I was like, oh, like in Strive? Like, I was just like super mindfucked by the type of game they made where like the mids dispenser, like Soul and Kai, like are top tier because their DPs do a lot of damage. And like a lot of characters just like have no sauce or very low sauce. Like character, like Milia, like when Milia throws you, you just tech right away, like in the air.
Really?
Yeah, like there's a bunch of stuff like that where they were like, man, like just shit was too good last time, so we gotta tone it down. This game only had one SBO. The game is like, I have an impression of the game being like kind of fair, but not in a fun way. And Arxis has actually done this a couple of times. Like if you play BlazBlue, you know what I'm talking about, because some people feel that way about the extend versions of games, like CS extend and Chrono Phantasma extend, where they're like, wow, this is just like the anti-fun police. is like made this game or something. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
while everyone agrees the game is like super balanced, they're also like, yo, like son, what did you do to the game?
Where's the sauce? Yeah, I
Where's
totally
the
feel
sauce?
that. Yeah. Extend.
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, no. So extend versions for sure. Like they always do that. I feel like I that's like the one thing I really like about like modern fighting games now is like with patches is that they don't do the like the third revision where they're just like, nah, just make it all boring and fair and watered down. Like that I like that they have like gradual patches like now. That's one thing I don't miss. That I can say the past.
Like high key, I actually really liked BBCS Extend. I thought it was like, even though I was like exploding during that version while I was playing it for like the first 6 months, like yeah, by the end I was like, yo, this game's actually like pretty fun and like fair, but also it was definitely the least popular version of CS in the US. Like nobody was playing through that version, but I thought it was like a good. I might sound funny. I like games that are fair and you could just pick the character you want and be successful. I kind of like that. I don't know about you guys. All that being said, it seems like they didn't really have it together. Like, so Reload is, the characters are mad strong. There's some really impressive stuff, but people have like, if you find people who play from that time too, they have like so many like happy memories of playing that game. It's really hard to find people who say this about Slash. If you are such a person, definitely feel free to leave a comment. I might actually put it here. Yeah.
Once again, I have not like played like any of these.
I mean,
like
now we're going
played.
Yeah, we're going into like where games like I've played like heavy, where like these are just like impressions that I've had from like either watching or just hearing what people had to say about it. Because I mean, now we're going to Accent Core. So Accent Core, I'm just gonna say it right now, bro. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a stack.
Oh wow.
Just kidding. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
This game is fucking godlike. This game is so good. I actually truly regret not playing this game competitively. It was being played in tournaments when I started playing fighting games in general. I'm not going to go in that story of like why I was so opposed to playing the game when I started at that time. You know what I mean? Long story short, you know, no net play was a big part of it. And the community was different back in the day. That's the only thing I'll say. But this game is like such a good. It's an example of a game that when it came out, people were like, "What the fuck is this?" And then because people played it and like broke it down over time and like built out all these situations and stuff, there's like, yo, actually this game is OD. And I actually really enjoy this game. It's my favorite version of XX for sure. And the best part about it, in my opinion, is that like technically they didn't go too crazy with the characters. I mean, especially if you compare it to like prior versions, because like the character power in Guilty Gear is just high in general. But they gave you a little dash with the force break moves to just put some threat, some like crazy threat when people have resource. That's the thing I like about it the most. Like they managed to make characters feel strong based around resource for the most part. This obviously does not apply to all characters. This is like a thematic thing, and I find that thing so interesting. And actually, I want them to try to figure out a way to do this with Strive somehow. Because if they could do it in a way that doesn't make the game like super degen, I think it would be like super fun. It's a challenge though. It is a challenge though. But yeah, this game is fucking great. Nothing else to say.
Yeah, so I this is like the first Guilty Gear that I had like ever really tried playing myself. Accent Core, like I was more of a BlazBlue kid back in the day, but I always saw this tournament at like all my locals that I'd go to, and I'd play it every once in a while just for fun. Like I was no good at it. I was mostly playing BlazBlue, but I always like appreciated this game like from afar. I was always a Accent Core enjoyer. Like I could appreciate the game for what it was. It came a long way to like get to like the version that it is right now. The characters in that game are really cool. Like I like watching that game at a high level is absolutely amazing. Like the people that made like the top players of Accent Core are masters. Like they are such good players, and like they've been there's just so much like nuance to the game, and like watching like a character specialist in Action Core, I feel like it really doesn't it doesn't compare to like a lot of other fighting games in my opinion. Like being a true character specialist in that game is really hard and super impressive, and like I don't know, I like the game a lot. I feel like I wish I'm kind of in the same boat. I kind of wish I played it a little bit more back in the day too, when it was a little bit more popular. But yeah, it's a good game, and I know nowadays everyone plays plus R, right? That's kind of like the main one. And then we're gonna get into that next, but I think a lot of people should go back and really appreciate the original Action Core for like what it was, because that game has a lot of history.
If you want to see some history on it, visit youtube.com/LordNetFG. Okay, anyway.
Hey.
So next we have plus R. I call this version the fuck it version. Disclaimer, I don't usually like these versions of games when they do stuff like this. It's cool and not cool at the same time. So like I mentioned, like I don't particularly like games where like the character power is like super high. But the thing I do like about these versions of the game is that like they basically know they're not going to patch the game anymore. So they just give players as much as possible. And one of the ways they do it is by making the characters really strong. So I like that perspective. So like I don't mind that. Like it's not for me, but for the people who are into it, like there's just so much to play with, because they just gave you more than they normally would, like quite honestly, in my opinion anyway. This I kind of want to give to you. Where do you think you would put it?
So plus R, I also actually want to put it in S. I know I hear this a lot from just like Guilty Gear boomers, I guess, is the best word I can put it. I think they have a lot of fond memories of like regular Action Core, and like they added a bunch of stuff. They added like force breaks and like new FRCs and stuff, and like new moves and stuff. It like one of my friends said it's like Mugen Action Core. Like they just added stuff on, and they just tacked stuff on, and like I will say though, this game I think is still super duper good, and there is a lot of curse balance stuff in previous Action Core that they fixed in plus R. So I think in terms of just character balance alone, like that is a pretty huge like bump up, even if it's like not I know everyone doesn't like all the new stuff they just like kind of tacked on for like all the characters, but I think there are some really cool stuff they added too. So I think I put plus R in S tier as well. Like, and also Zato is not absolutely broken in that game, so that's cool.
That's the thing, but he wasn't absolutely broken. They overcame him. He got
in original Action Core.
In Action Core, they overcame it. They overcame. So personally, I would probably put it here. For my personal one, I think they just turned the dial up too much. But again, like, what are they gonna do? Like, it's the last version, right?
Right.
Yeah, they overcame Eddie in AC. They did. Emilia, Zato. I said Zato. Eddie, Testament, Zappa. There's yeah. I mean, Eddie is top tier in that game, but it's like, you know, he's not ruined the game level top tier. You know what I mean? Not that
hard, you know,
he's not like that, I think.
You gotta work for those unblockables. You know what
I mean? Yeah. So I mean, I would probably like the average would be like A+. I think, you know, between like the two of us. Yeah, I actually can't call this an S tier game though. Like it goes against stuff that I'm like, oh, this is what makes a game good.
For sure. I mean, it's the one I've probably played the most now because of the rollback they added for the game online. You can actually play this game online, and you can also play vanilla Action Core with rollback as well. You can play both of them. It's really cheap online. I definitely recommend getting it.
Yes, I 100% recommend trying ACR if you're into Guilty Gear. By the way, it is a fun game, and if you're a Stripe player and your character's in ACR, then you're gonna have like just a lot of stuff that you're just not used to having. The game is mad fast. The netcode is really good, and the Steam version of the game has a bunch of stuff that other fighting games honestly really need. Like they've been putting in stuff into the game. This is of course not related to the game balance at all. Like it's just like stuff they've been doing. like replay functions, like God and like stuff like that. Like it's really good. Let's pull up to Sign. Exert Sign. So I'm gonna place it and explain myself. This game is pretty good, but when this game came out, high key it was like here, and by the end it's like here. By the end of Sign specifically, it's like here-ish. So I'm kind of like averaging it out. Let's put it where here. There you go. So like, first of all, YRC. While I learned how to play against this mechanic, I think it really like just affects like there's a constant like hiccups in the game because you have to like characters constantly are like doing it full screen slowdown, blah blah blah. When the game came out, you had 25-meter throw YRC. Which, you know, in Strive, you played Strive, you've definitely played against people who do, like, throw PRC. It's, like, a pretty common tactic. But in Sign 1.0, this shit was 25 meters. So, like, it was happening all the time. You just get deleted off it. Zato was, like, super good in this version. Soul, again, was, like, really good in this version. This version is based off... Exert's based off Sharp Reload. But, and I was actually talking about this with somebody the other day where like I feel like the reason why I don't feel like stripped down in Strive is because like they're like this is a new game and you have new stuff that does new stuff. Where like in Exert, like Milia is Sharp Reload Milia, but like literally just does missing shit. Like she doesn't have H pin, for example. She doesn't have like the fast slush shaker is done differently, so like you don't have as easy access to it. And they gave her some new stuff, but like when like I feel like you could compare so directly 1-to-1 compared to Strive. That and the new additions to Exert are just so cap. Like there's no other way to put it. Like Elfel in 1.0 Sign actually ruins the game, and like. At this point, I've been doing YouTube stuff in fighting games for like a couple years. You can count on one hand how many times I've said a character is truly broken and like ruins the game like that. I really think Alpha does that. I've gotten some salty comments being like, "Oh, it's because Lawso beat you so much." No, if you just look at the fucking goddamn character, why did I have to come up with like an 80-page document of how to fight Elfel? Because she has so much ridiculous stuff that you have to learn how to fight, and everything that she does leads to death. And the Sign 1.0 version is by far the best. Sin actually also is really ridiculous.
Sin is a war prime in that
but
game too.
People didn't know. People didn't know at the time. It's hindsight that people said that. And then Leo, who everyone hates now, like Leo in Exert is just better, like a better version of that, of what we're dealing with right now. And probably like the main and just factors in like why Leo's so good this version, but the newcomers to Exert Sign and future Exert games, so like Rev and Rev 2, I think are like mostly cat characters that are like at least they don't like straight up ruin the game, like they start balancing better, but like I just really detest the new Exert characters compared to like when I'm looking at like XX and looking at new characters, I'm looking at like Strive and looking at new characters so far. I feel like Exert has just the most cat new characters like Elfelt, Leo, Raven. Bedman is fine actually. So I say the DLC. I say like DLC / new patch. Sure. Bedman actually is ridiculous in this patch too, but they deaded him. Bedman and Ramathol were like really ridiculous in the 1.0 Sign. But they didn't dead Ramathals. Ramathal players kind of cry the way item throw players do. Wink, wink. Where Ramathal was quite good, but she wasn't busted, so people cried about it. Yeah, the character power is like high, but like there's just so much obnoxious shit, so much obnoxious stuff in Sign, and the way that like they went about like making new characters, while interesting on paper, was not very fun to play against. I'm not gonna lie. Sign is like a serious like arms race type game where like you just have to like hope your character has strong enough tactics to keep up with like the new stuff that they put in the new characters that is like somewhat outside what a quote unquote thematic Guilty Gear character is supposed to have. In my opinion, by the way, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the original Exerd, it was only for like a year. It was out before the patch, or was it 2?
No, it was pretty short. It was like a year. I think after Evo there was like 1.1 patch. I'd have to look at it, but that was within a year of the arcade release.
Yeah, the arcade release. But yeah, man, Elphelt in this game was super dope. Like, holy crap. And she was very popular too, competitively at least. And like, she had like on top of like all her like dumb neutral options and like her shotgun stance stuff, and like she unblockable looped you actually. Like, you actually just got hit, and like if they knew how to like time the like meaty like grenade into like the shotgun stance unblockable, like you just lost like after getting hit once. And she had like the dumbest normals, and Bridal Express was insane, and like, oh my god, that character was definitely a huge war crime, I think. But I think that always happens. I feel like in like Guilty Gear games is like early on, there's like one character that's like, whoa, that's a little bit, whoa there, that's a little bit too far. Yeah. So
yeah.
I feel like a lot of people will just kind of like focus on that, and it's like hard to like appreciate like all those, because I do think there's a lot of cool stuff that Exer did like when it came out. You know, their mechanics are pretty interesting. I think YRC, it's a hit or miss mechanic for some people. It does make you feel like, I know I've heard this from like some Exer players, like you feel like really like powerful, you know, when you like can slow down the screen, you can cancel any move. It's very freeform. It's not like attached to specific moves like it was in past Guilty Gears with FRCs. Being able to just like YRC like mostly any special was like a, I think like a cool like freeform feeling what they were kind of going for with Exert, right? So I thought that was cool. Blitz Shield, whatever, you know, it's like a fine, I think. But I like Exert, but I think it kind of grows to become an even stronger game like later.
Agree.
That was pretty dope in Exert.
Is what I would say though, because we got to do Rev 1 first, and this game also here, because I'm slightly biased because of Rev 1 arcade version with the God Johnny is still in my head. Right? It's still in my head. This version, so they did a bunch of like good stuff at a system level, but again, like characters, man, the bad memory is characters more than anything else. Characters. This is when they added like Coom and Raven, like more meme characters to the game.
Dude, they added Jacko.
Okay. Yeah, they added Jacko, and Jacko is a serious crime. Jacko and Raven are like serious crimes, where like Coom is like, you can't really be mad at Coom players, really, you know, like honestly, you know, but like Jacko's old design, man, like they had to put that behind a Moy Blob character. Like they just, there's no way you could make that character, but like it's Faust. Like it looks like Faust, but has those tools. There's actually no way. People would not accept it. They went really ham with the new characters again. Like I think like the thing that just bothers me about Exert more than anything else is just like the characters they added and what they do. Like how they, like, I think they're very creative though. Like it's stuff that's definitely not been done in other games, but like I just think a bunch of them are like degen. Like I think Raven's super degen, and like things like his, like, let's say like Slayer has an invincible dash, right? That's like a step dash. And like, yeah, he can special cancel it, but like, you know, it doesn't go that far. He's not like technically that mobile, so like it's fine that he has this thing. There's plenty of ways to fight it. But, like Raven has like his invincible run, like he's invincible for like 20 frames just off the screen for 20 frames. He can reappear whenever he wants. He's got the air dash, that's a super dash, but there's no 2H in this game, so you just gotta hold that. He's got the air throw that you can't do anything about. He, like, all his buttons lead into knockdown. That's not common in Guilty Gear. Like, they keep doing that shit. I like, while the ideas are cool, like the Jacko idea is cool too, for example, like they just keep doing that stuff. And I feel like I know why they did that, because they wanted that to be like how new players could get into the game easier, because the game is based off XX, which means like the legacy skill. So like I did play Melee and Exerd. Getting over the legacy hump was quite difficult. I will not lie. Like it took a lot. It took a while. where like this is actually something I was considering in Strive. Like I was like, oh, like just in case Milia is not that great, I should try Geo or Nago because lesson learned from Exerd. If Guilty Gear players count so much on just like the legacy skill that they can't deal with new characters that easily. I did definitely talk a bunch of shit about the new characters in Exerd, but it's because they're cursed, okay? Trust me. I studied that. They're cursed. Where like for Strive, Nago, Geo, not cursed characters at all. If you think one of them are cursed, I don't know what to say. But it would give me like a little boost because like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing yet, but also nobody knows what I'm doing, so it kind of like evens out. So it's something I was thinking about. But overall though, like new system's pretty cool. How they balance characters pretty cool. The blitz as a preventative measure is probably like one of the things that saves the game, quite frankly, because they buffed blitz a lot in Rev.
Yeah, compared to charge blitz, right?
They added charge blitz. So in Sign 1.0, blitz was like almost useless, for lack of a better word. Like Milia could be like right in front of your face, do H dis Bamu, and you blitz it, and you just don't get anything. Yeah. But they started adding like the reject boxes and stuff, and then they added the charge blitz, and then I think once you get to that, like it's actually a really good preventative measure that lets them mess around with characters like this and just give characters a bunch of nonsense, because like blitz really does only cost 25. It is cancelable into itself like Reflect and Dragon Ball, and you have the held version, and characters have like DPs and stuff, so you can do like blitz DP. Like there's a bunch of things that like it's really hard to cover absolutely everything that you can do. So I actually think like this, while it was like annoying in the moment, it was a really good preventative like defensive measure that all characters had access to, which was nice.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I remember in like past Exerds, like the old blitz, characters just didn't care. Like they just ran their like whatever offense anyway, because they just like totally ignored blitz.
Yeah, what does it do? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's a nice split shield. I will simply do my mix-up anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, Revelator was definitely interesting. They add the character power was pretty crazy in that game. Like all the characters that you listed. Sin was also really dumb in that game too. He was really dumb. And I think it was cool. Like they added some like they made some good tweaks, I think, overall to like the cast, but I think it wasn't until like Rev 2 where I was like, all right, this is like a pretty solid game, I think, now, like for the most part. But yeah, dude, I feel like I also had like the pretty similar experience, and I hated Bedman in this one too, by the way. I did not like this is the version that you went to Japan with my boy GC Yoshi, right?
No, it was Sign.
Oh, that was Sign. My bad.
It was Sign. It was Sign. Yeah,
I got carried by GC. He was also really good in Revelator too, right?
I don't remember. I don't feel like he was.
I'm getting my history confused now.
Sign, he was like, by the end of Sign, people were like, yo, like, yo. You know what I mean? And then, but like, then they nerfed him.
Revelator. I know, and I'm not thinking of Sign for sure. I don't know if it's Rev 2 or Revelator. I did not like Bed in this game. It's very annoying.
I mean, he's annoying in general, but like, I don't think he was ever like. I think by the end of Sign, people are like, oh, isn't he like actually top tier? Like one of those where like when the game comes out, everyone he sucks. Then at the end of the version, they're like, wait a minute, like. Which you love to see, by the way. I actually love that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Rev 2. Rev 2. I also would probably equally put it. A tier. Yeah, around here.
Same.
So I think despite me exploding in Rev 2.0 and about how so that's the only version where like I think Milia is actually bad in the time that I've played is Rev 2.0. Despite that, I think the game I can set aside. I'm not a Guilty Gear player, so I'm not selfish. I can say that the game was not bad in Rev 2, and then Rev 2.1 it improved a lot as well. Just like fixing stuff that people are like, why the fuck did you do this? Basically, even though I feel like I don't like the theme of Rev 2.1. So basically, like during Rev 2 and Rev 2.1, I was like, man, like all the characters that do like consistently well outside of like character specialist people who do well and just like overcome the hump, which is always a thing you could do in Guilty Gear, which is dope. There's just a theme of like so they added these new characters that can combo off everything, and then some returning characters have that too. So these guys are going to be swinging, and if you can't deal with it, then too bad. And if you get hit, it's going to lead in a combo and knockdown for sure. And if you play a character that doesn't have that or doesn't have like good enough screen control, then too bad. Which is like, But the game's pretty dope to play. And if you have a character that you like to play, then you can have a lot of fun. And then at this point, like all like the like super degen stuff, like while the characters are all strong still, there's not stuff where I'm like, this fucking ruins the game. You know what I mean? Which is not something I say very lightly, like I mentioned before. So I think they ended Rev in like a pretty good spot. Like honestly, with 2.1, I thought 2.1 is a pretty good version of the game.
Yeah. This is like the current version that you can play of Exerd right now. I think I've heard other I've heard back and forth opinions like Rev 2 when it came out was like, I think some people I actually liked Rev 2 like right when it came out. I thought it was like a pretty solid version. There was still like Alpha was still pretty dumb, man, but like I think it was like still like an overall pretty fun competitive game. Whole time though, by the way, Faust was super sick, by the way. Can't complain. Yeah. There were some matchups that were pretty stupid, and like there was definitely war crime characters, but like Faust was always really strong, like throughout all the Exert series. So that's a huge plus in my Exert's great.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess the last one would be the current game that we're playing, Strive, right?
Yeah.
So Strive. This is Strive. I would actually put it around Shield tier. Oh, I missed it. Shield tier. Just kidding.
Oh.
No, just kidding. Just kidding. No.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
I'd probably put it here.
A tier. Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably put it here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like where they started. The first version was actually pretty good, which is pretty uncommon. Like so far for like we said, literally normal Guilty Gear is like meme game. Guilty Gear X also kind of meme game. Once you get to like XX, like they're kind of getting there, right? And then the first version of Exert, like low key meme game also, right? So like I think the first version of this game is really good. Reminder, circling back to what we said a while ago. I like fair versions of games. Some people get mad. Some people are like, oh my god, there's no sauce. But I'm like, oh, like this is fair and it's fun, and like you have to outplay me to win. Like that's cool, So I actually feel like you can basically play whatever character you want and perform well if you want. I like that there's new stuff. I like that they're trying new things. There's stuff I don't like though. When the game came out, I really wasn't feeling wall break. But I grew to be like, okay, like this is part of the game. I do high key want either everyone to get like one more special move or like some type of 25-meter thing. It doesn't have to be like blitz. I think blitz would be like degen in a game like this, because like the offense blitz to me is like both a defensive mechanic and also like a preventative mechanic, like to make sure that like you can't totally lock people out, right? Where like this game doesn't need that type of thing, but like maybe like a slightly not as far as force break, but like an EX move for 25 or something like that would be like a pretty interesting thing for the game, I think. Another thing I like about the game I learned the main thing that helped me get over the legacy hump in Exerd was actually to study Accent Quarter. Accent Quarter is like years, like 6 or 7 years of competitive play of that game. ACR is on this way though, to be fair. I don't think maybe it'll be hard to like compare the levels, because like it's not like a main game where like AC was like a main game.
Yeah.
So but like I noticed from like studying Accent Core that like there's some themes that are like repeated in Guilty Gear characters like quite a bit, and in Exerd like a lot of the new characters just don't have these things, that they have things that like work against that. And maybe it's to help new players get in the game. I don't know. Maybe it's just because they were fucking around. I have no idea. I don't work for them. But I do actually feel like that you know, when we had this like what is real Guilty Gear thing, like one of the biggest things is these kind of themes around neutral about like off your far pokes you shouldn't get combos, off your close pokes you get stuff, and like everyone has like a thing that they do that when they do it they win like overwhelmingly, so you want to avoid that. Like Strive kind of just circles back to that, and like they could build on that in a new game. So I'm kind of looking forward to see what they do. By the way, they can fuck this up. And I will say the original version of the game we played, the closed beta test, was fucking cap and was not a good game. And OB1, if Open Beta 1 was released as the original version of the game, I probably would not think it was such a good game because that game has a bunch of problems. Main one being like you can't anti-air, and one of the like skills of a Guilty Gear player is doing anti-airs in a fast-paced game like Guilty Gear. So it's not like the game was like great all along. Like they have been building from like a thing to where we are today. So I'm kind of looking forward to see what they do. But I can't really say it's better than ACR. Despite me, you know, in like videos coming at boomers every now and then, like I do actually respect ACR as a game, even if it's not for me. I'm like, well, you know, the game's good. It has all the stuff that you need to play, and it's based off my favorite one, like AC. AC to me is like that's the one, like that is the one. And yeah, right now like I think they're in a good spot. They kind of know what they're doing, and like as long as they don't fuck it up, as long as they don't really fuck it up, it should just stay around like this A tier-ish area.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with you on the special move thing. I feel like just like if they had like just like a little bit more. One more special move, a little bit more sauce for each character, I think it would be like in a little bit of a better spot. Personally, for me, I put this as like a B+ tier game. Personally, it has a lot of things that I definitely take for granted now. I really didn't like the variable wake up timings on like front and back and like past Guilty Gears. I didn't enjoy the air teching situation like at all. Like
I forgot to talk about tech buttons. Yeah, you're right.
Oh
my god,
I miss that shit at all.
I don't
tech
miss
buttons,
it.
Yeah, especially in Exit, dude. The air gravity in that game was insane. Oh my god, like you would like air tech and like fly out like a bullet. And you know, some characters like mostly they would just like knock you down and stuff like off their confirms. But you know, you most of the time like had to like interact with the air tech system. Like off of your hits for the most part, like most characters in the game, and man, it is not fun. It is super not fun in that game. So I definitely take it for granted now. You cannot air tech anymore unless you're like wall bounded, but like, that doesn't really happen. But you now basically always get like a knockdown of some kind that you're like basically always prepared for, and you don't have to learn it for every character either. I love that. I actually absolutely love that. And when I saw that like for Strive, I was like, this is great. This is like one of the things I really disliked about like past Guilty Gears, and I'm actually pretty happy with this. Though even though like that is like a really cool change, and they like kind of change how combos work as well with like they don't have like proration or like scaling the same way they had in previous games, where like if the combo timer was like too high, you could like air tech out of the combo. In this game, it's like increases like the gravity and then like the wall meter, and then like something eventually stops working, right? They can't be juggled anymore, or you break the wall. And I like that, and it definitely kind of attributes back to the whole air tech system not being there anymore, right? They kind of go hand in hand. I like that, but I do kind of miss some of the really cool combos that you can do in some past Guilty Gear games. There are like cool combos in Strive, don't get me wrong, but I do miss like some of the like the bombos, you know, like the really cool combos that you could do in that game, because like the combos in like past Guilty Gears were crazy cool, and they took a, you know, they took a lot of practice to do. And I personally like, I like doing execution stuff. Like it's fun for me. Like you get like this cathartic feeling of like you can just practice the like whatever cool combo like in training mode, and then you get to do it in a match. I feel like I don't really training mode like that many combos like in this game. Faust has also like never been really that much of a combo character anyway. But like I like
more situational awareness type of
yeah, but I do miss I miss the combos for sure. Like that's one thing I feel like I miss, and I feel like in the next version of like after a couple more balance patches, I for sure could see Strive as an easy A tier game for me. But right now I have it as like a B tier personally.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I always end up forgetting that too. I mean, you know me for a while. Like, I am the enemy on this. I don't give a fuck about combos. I just do them because they lead to me winning.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's literally all. I'm like, oh, I have to do this here because it just does damage. Like, or like it goes into that situation. So like for the people who do like high execution stuff, that like and not so much of a, because there are hard combos in the game, but like so far most of the hard combos are just about timing more than like, you know, doing a bunch of inputs really fast or hitting a specific window. I mean, I guess Millia has a couple like that, but like I definitely feel people on stuff like that if they feel that way. Like I'm not that type of person, but that's a lot of people for sure. Like I don't fault anyone for feeling that way.
Yeah, and another thing is, you know, I see the other side of the argument too, and like a lot of my friends that just got into Guilty Gear with Strive, they tell me that like, yeah, you know, in other fighting games, I hate just sitting there getting comboed, and like it takes forever, and I hate having to watch it. And in this game, like the combos are way shorter. They're like super duper short and like straight to the point, and they enjoyed that. So you know, I know I'm not like, I might be booming a little bit, might be doing a little acting like a boomer here, but I do see the value.
Zoomers. It really is boomers versus zoomers in this game about like why they did stuff and like why people feel the way they do about things. So yeah, I definitely feel it, but like I think it's a good entry so far. They got stuff to do for sure, but to me, like especially comparing it to basically the only game that I've played that I think had a better first version is Persona. Like that's the only one I could think of. Like BBCT is nonsense, and Sign is less nonsense than BBCT somehow. Considering I was like Alpha literally ruins the game, and then like CT has like 3 or 4 characters that ruin the game. There's only 12 characters in the game, so like it's like a third of the cast ruins the game.
Yeah. You know, you said Persona, and I was like, wait, really? And then I thought about other vanilla Arc System games. I'm like, yeah, but yeah, generally, no, for sure, Strive definitely like their best like vanilla fight. And I don't even fully call it like a vanilla fighting because they had beta tests. They had beta tests and they tweaked stuff. So, but for like on release, definitely like a pretty solid fighting game, especially compared to some of the really crazy vanilla fighting games that you and I have played in the past from Arc System Works. Arc System pretty silly. So, I hope you guys liked that video. Maybe you can give us some of your thoughts on your favorite Guilty Gear games in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.